But let's switch gears from the running backs to the wide receiver / tight ends. David Njoku had a monster first half, and he's got a shot for a 1,000-yard season now. I think he's got up to 880 yards with the way he's played the last couple of weeks. So if he has another big game, now again, if the Ravens win, the Browns will have nothing to play for next week, so he probably won't play.
These guys, like, we could save that for later, but that's going to be Miles is going to want to play. David Njoku is going to want to play. 882, like that's not far fetched for him to have his first 1,000 yard season.
You got to do what's best for the team.
118
I mean, you got to sit these guys.
For 1,000. He's
never
had 1,000.
Never had McNuggets.
He's never come close to 1,000.
I mean, what a season he's having, and with
Kevin's not
Flacco.
going to let them play.
I agree.
I'm not letting any of them play.
They might want to play
unless the Ravens lose, and then you go for it.
I know. I'm gonna tell you how I know Kevin is not gonna let them play. Amari Cooper was 10 yards away 15 yards or maybe 20, whatever it was, from the record, and he sat him down and said, "No, you ain't going back in."
What do you mean for the record?
For the Houston Texans game until
he went back in and got it.
Because he had to put him back in, but. At that moment, he was not putting him back in there. And I'm like, for that record, you're not going to put him in? So, Kevin don't care about none of that.
Well,
and this team, to be honest with you, this team don't care about that. They talk about it all the time.
It's got to be about the team.
Yeah, they don't care about personal accolades.
Guys, Elijah Moore was having his first good game with no Amari Cooper. It was all about Njoku and Elijah Moore in the first half. He got hit, and his helmet, like the face mask, slammed the ground. It wasn't even like somebody hit him in there. It was kind of weird. But I didn't see it, but apparently somebody was saying he was convulsing on the ground.
Yeah.
They showed it.
It was the involuntary hand.
The spasms.
It looked like
so. It was a very scary moment.
It was concussion-like movements.
We don't know when he's going to be back. I mean, a lot of guys come back in a week or two, but this seemed pretty serious.
Marquise Goodwin missed, a month?
Yeah. So let me ask you a crazy question here. Should the Browns call Jarvis Landry right now?
That's funny because I thought about him as soon as he got hurt.
I wrote it down as a topic for next week, but I swear to you.
I literally thought about that at the game. Like, I would think.
You brought Joe off the scrap heap. Can we bring Jarvis?
And Jarvis was beloved in that locker room. Hey, listen, after what Kareem Hunt has given them and Joe Flacco's given them as free agents.
If you listen, the one thing that Jarvis brings is a guy with some edge to him.
Yeah.
Okay, and you could say Amari Cooper's pretty much a silent leader. He's like Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
I mean, not Amari Cooper. He's like Nick Chubb in that department. It don't hurt to get a guy that's not afraid to go across the middle of the field, take a drag, drop his shoulder, and get those extra yards. That's literally what this team embodies right now, that toughness.
Yes.
And he fits that mold, so I would be okay if they go get Jarvis. Even though he's like 33.
How did it end with him here?
It was very.
It was okay?
Yeah, it was amicable. I think there was he could come back. I think he could come back.
What's the downside? There's no downside to bringing him in.
There's no downside to bringing him in the building and working him out and see what he's got.
Let's go.
He just had a workout last week or 2 weeks ago, didn't he, with some team?
Did he?
He did.
I didn't remember hearing
He was in a workout like a week or two ago.
Let's go.
Well,
Jarvis, join us, buddy.
Well, I have a question for you guys. Now, Njoku was on pace very early on to set the single-game tight end record, which is held by Shannon Sharpe with 212. He didn't have a big second half. He had 128 of his 130 yards.
Shannon Sharpe commented on it on his podcast with Chad Johnson. Did you see that?
Oh, did he? I did not.
Yeah, go ahead.
But he had 128 yards like 40 minutes into the game and then only had 10 yards the rest of the game. But
no, you said 40 minutes into the game, 10 minutes into the game.
10 minutes into the game with 40 minutes to go and then only had, yes, you're right. But it got me thinking, and we look at Njoku, and especially what he's done the last couple of weeks. In the grand scheme of players that probably don't get as much attention in the big picture of the NFL as they deserve, I think Njoku's quickly climbing the ladder of guys who are looked at.
He's never done it before, so why would he get?
Because right now, when you look around the league, like at the best tight ends in football, I think Njoku's in the conversation. He's not one.
Yeah.
But he's in the conversation right now in that second tier.
For what now? Best tight end?
Yeah.
Like he belongs in the conversation with the top tight ends right now.
What are you? Yes, but I'm saying, like, who are you comparing him to? Like, all right, so give me Kelsey.
The guys like Kelsey
Kittle,
and Kittle, those guys have done it for years.
Okay.
So it's not fair to put him in that group. But yeah, you want to put him with the.
But I'd say Kelsey and Kittle are going like this, and David's going like this.
I actually, Kittle's having a great year.
I say Kittle's not.
Kelsey's numbers are going down.
It's always injuries with George.
Yeah, I know. Just he stayed healthy this year.
Yeah, but I was talking to a player in the Browns locker room last night about Njoku, just sort of laughing about what a weird career arc David's had. He came into the league. He was so young. He was like 20, 21, really, really young. And basically, the guy I was talking to is like, he was really athletic and he could catch, but he wasn't really a football player. He's become a football player.
Oh, big time.
He's evolved into a football, and the Browns hung in there with him.
Yeah.
And we kind of laughed to the contract.
They were right.
Gave him. And there were other teams that I was talking to teams at the NFL owners meetings that were bitching about the Browns and the Njoku contract and how they keep screwing up the market for everybody else and da-da-da-da-da. And he's earning every dollar. He's lived up to it. They got it right. Just to watch how he and Kevin didn't see eye. They brought in Austin Hooper. Multiple times David tried to get out of here. Multiple times. He was asking for trades. And like, why are you bringing in Austin Hooper? They draft Harrison Bryant. He's looking around going, why am I here? Now he is, if he's not the most important piece, because I'll still say Amari Cooper is number one, he's 1A in terms of this offense.
No doubt. He's huge. And, he's playing as well as anybody at the position.
Well, you know why he's doing that?
Yeah.
Because me and McNuggets did his brother's workout, and I understand exactly why that man do what he do. Because that workout, still got nightmares from
Njoku
it.
Strong. Check him out on Instagram.
Does Ozzie Newsome hold the Browns record for most receiving yards in a season with 1,002 for a tight end?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Didn't Gary Barnidge pass it?
He might have. Yeah.
What's the record?
It's 1,000 under 1,100. I know that. I don't know what Gary Barnidge had. That is just crazy that Gary Barnidge.
David could have had.
No, Kellen Winslow has it 1,106 yards.
Oh, okay.
He could get that if he would have eliminated the drops that he had in those 2 or 3 weeks. He'd be much closer to breaking that record.
If the Browns have something to play for next week, he'll have a shot.
As it stands right now, he's 7th. He's 7th all time.
And let me tell you this, because I know it because I watch the team. The Bengals are awful against tight ends. Awful. And he could definitely have a huge game next week. But again, we need the Ravens to lose to Miami for that game to have meaning, which is possible, but we'll see.
Yeah, we're going to bring Bernie Kosar
Bernie's
in,
here.
the legend. The legend in Bernie today is brought to us by FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay red hot on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. And before I get to Bernie, I asked you guys the question, is Njoku the most underrated tight end in football? And Bernie sitting back here goes, let me get on this topic. So, Bernie.
I was coming through the screen on that. I've taken since David got here, what was it, Jay, 6-7 years ago? And as you guys.
He was the youngest player in the draft that year.
And being one of the youngest guys, not even able to drink yet, being a first-round draft pick. And a lot of people joke with me about my bias towards him because of the University of Miami.
Yeah.
And I knew of him because of that. But his athleticism and his presence, and Jace, you probably see it a lot more than some of us in the locker room, is so dominant right now. And the way he's really galvanized, I believe, that locker room. And then playing as a tight end, this is, and I love Kittle, and I love the Kelce's, Travis Kelce and that, no question. But he now, I believe, can be talked at in that level. And his physical presence with our tackles, we talked about this the last 2 weeks here on the show. Man, I mean this to be funny, is I really don't exactly know who our tackles have been the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, they've done awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how awesome you guys have done. But having this tight end next to you right there, and for David Njoku to be making plays like that with his athleticism, but then being a stone-cold tough guy blocker at the end man of the line of scrimmage is one of the really big keys, I think, to this Joe Flacco resurgence of our offense and stuff. He's doing it in the passing game for sure, we see. But he's more impressive to me in what he's doing blocking in and around the line of scrimmage, and that makes him, to to me, one of the best, if not the best, all-around tight end in the NFL right now.
Why is he open on every single play? Every single play, David Njoku is open. How did defenses not know by now, like, especially with no Amari Cooper last night, wide open in the middle of the field? All the time, it's always there.
This is sort of a joke, but me and him have been so close over the years. That's all I talked with him about is the presence that you're supposed to have with your quarterback and how you develop that relationship with your quarterback and Baker Mayfield. And back in the day when you're staying in this system, the tight ends and the backs, they tend to block a fair amount and then leak out into pass protection. He was really a check down on that first 3rd and 15 conversion. That was just a check down into zone. And him understanding the macro of it and then developing a rapport with his QBs, flat out talking to him, knowing that you could always count on me. So in the old days, I like to talk about the team and what they're doing and not be one of those guys that says, oh, back when I did it. But man, when I know that David Njoku knows where to get open, like I'm looking at you, Adam, but I see the camera to the right. I really should never look at you in the eyes. So now when the quarterback knows that David Njoku will find that void, and then they have that little communication. He's always the security blanket out there, so he's able now to find those voids, and he's finding them. Almost like not what Travis Kelce, I believe, is doing in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and kind of the freedom to ad-lib, but there's a little bit of ad-libbing within the check-down principles that are able to find those voids. And then, like, Joe Flacco's really adept at using those tight ends and having that check down to dominate.
Bernie, the Joe Flacco story coming into this week was already absurd. It was already crazy. It was already a fairy tale. Last night, 90 minutes before the game, we find out Amari Cooper's not going to play. You're playing, this is the best secondary that he's faced since he's been here. Jets obviously are really good in the secondary. And he throws for 296 yards in the first half. How is this happening?
Well, I've been so excited coming in on this show the last few weeks, and I'm calling you to come in to talk about how fun it is at this time of the year to talk about Browns playoffs, Browns fun, Browns W's, and then flat out just Joe Flacco's gift that he's brought us. It's not, this is not false enthusiasm. This isn't kind of let's hype our team. Nobody wants to play us right now.
No.
And we are as dominant with Joe Flacco and him understanding the checkdowns and the system. And we were talking about the last couple weeks how he's getting better with it. And this is something where no team wants to play the Cleveland Browns right now.
Bernie, you at the game last night, right?
Yeah, so that's why I need some of my Kosar coffee, because I did not see a single play because the fans were so excited. Okay? So there is nothing I saw there literally last night.
Well, that's perfect, because I was going to ask you about the atmosphere last night. You've played with the Browns. If you had some success, I'm sure the atmosphere was pretty good. How do you compare last night compared to when you played?
So the atmosphere, the excitement, is at such a tilt level. So just a shout out and congratulations to the fans, to the organization. Heck, the guys like Jason who's had to go into the locker room every day for decades, where it's been hard to do. It's been hard to follow. I mean, heck, we're doing a December 29th show, holiday season. Super happy, not talking about who the coach is going to be, what the draft pick's going to be. We're relevant. And we're not just being homers in Cleveland. We're good. Nobody wants to play us, okay? I'm super excited. Yeah, it's a 2.4% chance that we could have the home field advantage to it. But nobody wants to play us. I'm confident with us going on the road. It's even better if it would be able to be at home. And last night, as much as I truthfully just wanted to be a fan and just be a student of the game and be able to articulately go back and forth with X's and O's with people, and knowing I was going to do the show today and be able to be intelligent about the plays I saw, I didn't see any. And to your question, it was because the fans, it was so special to them. I had guys older than me crying. They were so excited. It was such a special environment. I was so honored to be part of it, and to meet people for 10 or 15 seconds and be able to see that love and excitement and see so many dads who are there with their 20-year-old or 15-year-old little boys and that kind of father-son bond. It was super awesome to see the people enjoying it this time of the year.
It took me back to watching David. I talked about this at the start of the show. Watching David talk with some kids in the stands, watching Joe Flacco hanging out with. It reminded me of your team in the '80s and how. I mean, it was a bond between the players. We don't see that very much anymore.
And well said. And Jace, too, it wasn't fabricated. It wasn't just for TV. They generally are good guys bonding with the community and stuff. And to see, and almost to your point, Ty, is that our question was, you know, the fans and the excitement and the comparison of it, it really brought back kind of emotional memories of being able to live those fun moments. Because man, how many times have we had Christmas and New Year's where you couldn't give away tickets to last night? I couldn't get a friend to go with Bernie Kosar to a football game now.
It'd be all Steeler fans celebrating another trip to the playoffs.
Making fun of you.
Yeah. Bernie, if the
Can
Ravens,
I just say enjoy watching us during the playoffs?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. First time since '89. Did you know that stat? First time since '89, the Browns are going to finish ahead of the Steelers.
I heard that. I also heard this is the second time in Browns history that we could have 12 wins. The only other time was with me, I think, in '86 or '87. And actually, maybe this is a thing to maybe talk about myself or to talk about Joe Flacco's presence, but Joe Flacco, Marino, and myself were the only quarterbacks to go to the playoffs the first 5 years in our career. Wow. And to remember back like that and to see, and people say, oh, how does Joe Flacco get off the couch and show up in November and do this stuff? He's always been special. I mean, he's been in the playoffs the first 5 years in his career. He's got a Super Bowl and stuff. He could see he could adapt and learn, and he's being able to kind of galvanize us and ride this emotion.
Yeah. Bernie, obviously, if the Ravens lose to Miami on Sunday, the Browns will still be able to potentially win the division. You're going to play everybody against the Bengals. If the Ravens win, the Browns are locked into that 5 spot. Obviously, there's something to be said for momentum, the way Flacco's playing, but what do you is the right call to sit everybody if the Browns are locked into that 5 spot next week?
So it was a long night last night.
Yeah.
I'm still adjusting to, we're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I do want to analyze that because I debate that myself. The Belichick, let's play it out and be ready. Time, sometimes rest. You lose your in-syncness. And Joe does an extra game of, his 5th game, practice, getting ready for the playoffs help, or does he need rest? And he'll know, and he'll be able to talk. Yeah. I really found fascinating some of the things you were talking about as I was coming on about the possibility of like a Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
We love Amari Cooper. So God, come check me out with my health and wellness, and I can help you get healed quicker, legally to make that. But if he can't make it, The weather is getting better. Why David Njoku's making big plays and getting yards after catch is in this. It was a nice night last night, but it's still a landfill, Cleveland Stadium. It's still a mud pit down there, and it's understanding guys that are kind of tough mindset guys that could work in between the numbers. And Jarvis Landry fits into that. Nobody fits into it like Amari Cooper and stuff, but those may be kind of options that. If we're going to make a longer run in the playoffs, and we should be planning on that, to start having an extra guy or two like that on practice squad that could move up if Amari has an issue on a Friday or Saturday before a game.
Or Elijah Moore, because he got a concussion last night.
Elijah Moore. We want him back. We love, look at Joe Flacco and his timing from the Jets. We're bearing the fruits of that relationship. Yep. So we want that optimally, but if those guys can't go, we could go to Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and we could go to Baltimore. We did it. So
that's right.
Now having that belief and having the guys that actually could do that, and Of course, Chief is a tough guy in there doing that. You want Elijah Moore and you want Amari Cooper. But if you don't have that, I'd be really comfortable with a tough guy like Jarvis Landry, because that kind of guy's been there and done that.
Yeah. Bernie, when you look at, let's play devil's advocate and say that they lock in at the 5th seed and they had to play an AFC South opponent in the first round. Who would you rather, Jacksonville, Texans, or the Colts?
So I love C.J. Stroud.
Go Bucks.
And it has nothing to do. I love them coming out. I'm a Frank Wright fan. He should have drafted him. Everybody should have drafted him. It was an easy decision, okay? And that's an easy question to answer. We don't want to play C.J. Stroud in Houston again, okay? We know we could beat the other guys. We could probably, okay, I'm not afraid of that, okay? But what's optimal?
Yeah.
He's not optimal. He's good. And that's not because I'm buying a Buckeye guy. He's good. He's real good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He would rather play
He's
Indy
the
or
real
Jackson.
deal.
He's the real deal.
Trevor Lawrence is beat up.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew, either one of those, I think. I think he'd win any of those three, but I agree with you. C.J. Stroud is the one wild card that they didn't have to deal with the first time.
Bernie, Jason was talking about how Joe is like when guys screw up, he's on them. Like it doesn't matter that he's new; he's a veteran. He's proven it. How important is that to the way?
Yeah,
he's
we can't help ourselves, bro. Dude, this isn't marketing. This isn't feel good time.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't. I don't care about your feelings right
Yeah.
now. This is win or go home. Okay, and this is why he goes to the playoffs. This is why his first 5 years he's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's why he's a Super Bowl champ and MVP. Got in that. So that guy gets after it, and that's
good.
And you got it, and I love that. We all say that we're independent. We all say we can make decisions. When he goes like that, he's telling his guys what to do. It crystallizes to them what they need to do too, and you could see that they have so much respect for him.
Oh yeah.
That they take the advice as opposed to human nature saying, "Oh, why are you telling me this?" They take it, implement it, and then you can see it working, moving forward.
Bernie, what do you think is the biggest difference between this Cleveland Browns team and the ones in the past?
So, belief. If I was going to go on a macro homily of belief and being positive and genuinely having a belief in yourself, that makes a positive difference in anything you do. And I think this team really believes they can win. They really believe they're good. And now, and then philosophically, you match that up with the Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry kind of physical running game that we're trying to do and being a physical presence. I think that combination has a convergence for us of why we're seeing this success.
You mentioned the running game. They hadn't been running well until last night. Jerome Ford had a big game. They blocked well. Joe Flacco has not been sacked 2 weeks in a row. The offensive line seems to be improving now, even with the injuries.
And that coupled with play action pass that Joe's doing under center, you can keep an extra back and a tight end in, and then you saw genius level movement. Like Joe Flacco isn't known for a lot of athleticism. Dan Marino wasn't. I for sure wasn't. But look at the way he moves in the pocket. I mean, and he's got this. I don't want to go too much into it because it is giving up a game plan or a strategy of how you dice up a defense and I eat up the linebackers and DBs on scramble drills, like how he had no intention of running that ball on the touchdown pass to Ford, okay? He knew Ford was over here, and he's running at that first down stake. He's going to go. I'm going to get that pylon. I'm getting a first down. I'm looking at it. He knows Ford's there, and he just does that flip 1 yard in front of the line of scrimmage. Yeah. You are in such a bind. The DB linebacker, the savvy veteran, like that flips the whole game. You know, and those 2, 3, 4 plays in a muddy track that we're going to get probably in Baltimore and Cleveland and Kansas City, and Joe Flacco, albeit not mobile, he's coming up. We're coming up with this scheme in play action passing that you can create those checkdowns even if it's not there, by the way he pretends to move or pretends to run to get the DB to believe I'm going to, right at the line of scrimmage, get there. And then the David Njoku is Ford last night. Kareem Hunt's really good at finding open voids. It was my Leroy Hoard. Leroy was the best at doing what Ford did last night. And Joe Flacco has implemented that into the game. And that's good stuff. And that's hard stuff to defend in the playoffs, man. Because do I come up and hit me?
Yeah.
Or do I sit back?
Yeah.
Oh, and then you stay back, and it's like you're on film avoiding contact and avoiding killing a quarterback.
Yep.
Like there's a lot that goes in your head in that 0.2 seconds, and I'm taking advantage of it. Yep.
Bernie,
Joe's taking advantage of it.
He is.
Great.
This has been unbelievable. What a fun ride. It's been fun talking about it with you, and we'll talk about it with you next week. Thank you, as always, for joining us. We appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
What are you doing? Anything for New Year's?
I think I'm hanging out with you doing a podcast.
I know. We got to do that. We'll figure it out.
I want the people to think I'm socially active.
No.
I'm dating you. Come on, man. Jesus. Come on.
All right, great talk with Bernie. We're going to do Super Chats in a minute. We're coming up on WKYC in about 10 minutes. Mike, go ahead.
Awesome, Bernie. Thank you as always. Let's get into some Super Chats today. We have a bunch, and we appreciate everyone. Also, we asked for likes,